Apparently, one of the qualifications to be an introducer of an awardee is to have exquisitely cut silver gray hair. Apparently, it is not necessary that one be tall. I have the distinct honor of introducing Pat Clancy, but before I do, I want to tell you a little bit about how I was introduced to him. I met Pat in the early 1980s. Yes, I know, I don't look that old. I was a 20-something idealist, surprise, surprise. I was part community organizer and part wannabe housing developer. I was working in the north end of Springfield for CDC, Brightwood Development Corporation, and actually all of us were more community organizers than we were housing developers. So when we took on our first major housing development project, we decided we needed some help, and we called GBCD, Greater Boston Community Development, who at the time had morphed into one of the preeminent consultants to community-based nonprofits. Many of you who know TCB today may not realize for the first 20-some-odd years of our corporate life, that was our mission, to help community-based organizations do the work that we all do today. In 1985, Pat decided that Western Mass was such a rich place in which to do business that he needed to open the first TCB regional office. Yes, 90 miles from Boston, we ventured. He then recruited my then boss, Austin Miller, who many of you may fondly remember, who was at the time the director of Brightwood Development Corporation. I worked for Austin. Pat recruited Austin, Austin recruited me, and we became the first regional staff of the community builders, again, out in Springfield. Yes, 1985. There's a lot of people in this room who have worked for and with Pat. In fact, this might be a good opportunity to ask anybody who's a current TCB employee or a past TCB employee to stand up. All right, then, you can say hallelujah when I comment on what it's like to work for Pat. Working for Pat is a roller coaster. There are moments of incredible passion, exhilaration, intellectual stimulation, accomplishment. There are also many moments of frustration and panic and exhaustion. I loved every minute of it and would never do it again. And I start by talking about, well, I'm older now. I start by talking about my experience because people talk often about Pat's contribution in terms of numbers of affordable housing units created, and I'm going to do that. But I don't think he is often recognized for one of his key contributions to our industry, and that is mentoring of 20-something idealists who are part community organizer and part wannabe housing developer, and helping us find a pathway to integrate our desire to do good and our intellectual curiosity about how to torture public sector funders. He showed me that pathway, and I will be forever grateful to him for that. And I think I am just one of many members of the affordable housing community who found their true vocation in working with or for Pat. To be quite honest, when I first met Pat, I thought he was a little crazy. His passion preceded him in every interaction before he even walked in the room. His fearlessness in the face of adversity was both inspiring and a little daunting. He has always been fond of the phrase, good enough never is. And he held both himself and others to that standard. I guess that was partly due to his Irish Catholic upbringing, but I think mostly it was due to the fact that he has always believed that the work we all do in service to the most needy demands nothing but our best, always. Pat's legacy is best evidenced by the numbers. Pat has given more than 45 years of his life in service to advancing the cause of social justice and the elimination of poverty. Pat served for 40 years as first staff and then shortly thereafter CEO of the many things that along the way became the Community Builders, which is now one of the largest nonprofit urban developers in the country. TCB now works in 14 states in the District of Columbia. You've heard that several times today. TCB has helped to produce more than 25,000 affordable and mixed income housing units in 208 developments. Pat is perhaps best known for his genius in the arena of affordable housing finance, and during his tenure at TCB, we raised more than $2.5 billion in financing for projects, often through cutting-edge programs that Pat himself designed. At the end of the day, though, it is most important to reflect on the fact that Pat's years of service provided decent and affordable housing for an estimated 165,000 families. It's a small city. Many of them children, another passion of Pat's. Of all the things, I think, that Pat has been passionate about, and perhaps the least known among them, is that he derived his greatest sense of accomplishment from the work that he did and we continue to do in providing comprehensive site-based services to folks who live in the communities that we develop so that they can hopefully end that cycle of poverty and their kids get a good education and a good start in life. We at TCB have been able to accomplish all of what you just heard about because Pat had the vision, the tenacity, and the faith in the cause to make it all happen. I would be remiss if I didn't also mention Pat's other passion, his family. He married his college sweetheart, Mary Jane, and they raised 3 great kids. I was trying to get somebody to help me count his grandchildren. He'll have to mention them individually, but I know that one of his great joys in retirement is having enough time, if there ever is such a thing, to spend with them. Add a little teaching, a little consulting, and plenty of time for tennis, college basketball, the Green Bay Packers, and a spin around the golf course in his, what I hear, fully appointed golf cart. And his life is surely grand. It is with great pleasure that I introduce my ex-boss, my mentor, and my friend, Pat Clancy.